All right, we are live. All right, now I have Wailing Geeta here with me, and he just performed. So, how did your performance go today? Let's start with that. How do you think it went?
Not bad for something that's kind of a rough scratch track I started working on like a month ago. So
Okay.
yeah,
And how long have you sang and you played the guitar? Is that what you?
I did not sing. I usually do not sing. My stuff is usually
Okay.
instrumental tracks.
Okay. So, what did you do up there? Because I'm not
I
familiar.
played guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've been working on this tune for like a month now.
Yes. And uh, I have some other tracks I'm making. I released an album earlier this year. I'm working on a second one.
Uh,
So that's what I've been up to lately.
okay, that's what's up. And this track that you played today, you've been working on it
It's
just for like a month.
yeah, it's in plans to be on the second album as of this point.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
that's pretty good for you're like already on the second album as
Mhm.
an independent artist.
Mhm.
How did how is the first one gonna be different from the second one? You feel? Or okay, let's just say, was there a time span where like you as a person as an individual change and your experiences change so that the second album turned out is gonna be something different, or is it a continuation of the first
Yeah,
inspiration?
I think I'm gonna take a little more time on the second one. I think I kind of had like ideas like kind of blitz like at me like for the first one.
Yeah,
I got it done in like a year and a half.
a year and a half.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a really solid commitment.
Mhm.
And where can viewers and people find your first album at least?
All over the place: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube.
Yeah, at Wailing Geeta.
That's right.
Okay, and how long have you been doing this?
How long have I been playing?
Sure, yeah.
Almost a few decades.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, you look very. I would feel like you're like quite young. So a few decades means from a child, from a really young age. I'm assuming.
Almost. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So you play the guitar means like the calluses, right?
Yeah. They're maxed out. Mm,
Because it's like one of those things. Oh, I wish I could play a guitar, but once these start hurting, I'm just like, it's
right,
it's
and
it's something
I
I
can stretch
admire.
pretty like far too.
Oh, that's the other muscle movement that you gotta. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a lot of it's in the wrist.
yeah. Do you collaborate with with singers and so on?
Um, Not usually, but I've been thinking about it
Yeah.
on maybe like some jazz tunes. That's usually my specialty, and then my like original songs are like jazz fusion, progressive rock, and the lights of kind of like King Crimson or Rush or Dream Theater.
Okay, I don't know those artists, but you're telling me rock and jazz, like a mix of rock and jazz.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
right.
I'm gonna be curious to know what that
Yeah,
sounds
and
like. I'm
maybe
gonna
even
check it
some
out.
other stuff like world music and
Like the Japanese, because you said
world.
Wailing Gita was an
Yeah,
inspiration from a
yeah, and
Japanese anime.
funk
Yeah.
and soul and stuff. So it doesn't end at like jazz and rock.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And you've been doing this for a couple years. Yeah. Do you think how is Wailing Gita part of your own, human experience in a way? What makes you feel like, all right, we gotta go for the second album? What does Wailing Gita give you back to your daily routine that makes you feel like I gotta go out there and keep making this jazz and rock? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what it is like writing original stuff like kind of balances me out and like kind of makes me a little like less like frazzled. So it's kind of like a good thing cuz otherwise if I'm out covering stuff all the time then I'm like following charts and some people want it exact and with original stuff I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, like following charts, meaning what's popular.
Yeah, that and like kind of like just following like at note for note because a lot of people are picky about covers. Because if an artist does it
Understood.
their own way, some people really hate it.
Oh, okay, okay. So like when somebody sings the original but their own version, like sometimes you'll see it on American Idol or one of these auditions. You know, they'll sing it a whole different way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you kind of swim a different direction. You kind of create your own notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's right.
yeah, that's pretty. That's really creative. Snaps to you to come up with your own themes and so on. Because I'm not a musician, just like an admirer of music, I guess, and just a listener of music. But to come up with your own themes and music and so on. Have you seen yourself get better over these decades that you've been doing this? Have you seen yourself um, create better stuff, or do you feel like the inspiration's still at that up there?
I haven't tracked it on a regular basis, but I did listen to something like a few days ago from like 12 years ago. I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, I'm a lot more polished now.
But at that time when you were recording that 12 years ago, you just kept, wailing Gita kept going. There was nothing that could, bring you down. Do you had self compassion on that end?
I had some breaks in between,
Yeah, of
like life stuff happens, like
course, yeah.
work and school and finances, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was there a break between the first album and the second album?
The first one just came out earlier this year, actually. So
Okay, and you
it's
already onto
it's
the second one.
yeah, it's my first release, so I took my time with it. I guess I was trying to get better at
Mhm.
guitar. Also, was the other thing,
Sure, sure.
and I also felt like I was kind of in a rough like creators writer's block kind of patch.
Yeah.
So I released it earlier this year though, so now it's out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe I feel like the second album is almost a continuation of the first one. It's like continuing on this theme, you know?
Sometimes, a lot of the time I've seen is I like from a lot of artists, I actually like the first album more than the second one. Like for example, this one I'm sure you'll know, Queen.
Yeah.
Their first album is a lot better than the second. The second album, like, I kind of felt like the first one had like a little more energy. It was a little more
Like
cool.
Lord is another one. Do you know Lord? They say her.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't follow, but I know.
Well, yeah, like I think Heroin was the album. It was just out there, and then the second one, maybe the first one is like, all right, here we go. We know we got this chance, and then
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But for me, I just hearing you, the fact that the second album is right after the first one, for you, it sounds like it's a continuation almost. You know what I mean? Of that after that artist block that you had, you're like, all right, I'm flying. Let me keep flying. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a lot to follow up on, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, that's what's up. And if you could share with viewers right now or just viewers in the future, what do you bring with your music or to the listeners when you are sharing? What are you sharing with us through your music?
I guess I want them to feel like what I'm like feeling is like something exciting, something kind of stimulating, very original,
Yeah,
and like kind of like a lot of the stuff I like is kind of like virtuoso kind of like stuff. So I really like people that are like really kind of like focused in on that kind of like energy.
you said virtue.
Virtuoso.
What's that? What is that? I
It's,
really don't know what that.
it's kind of like an expert.
An expert.
Yeah, it's kind of like an expert that's like kind of just really good at something. Like a black, I'm sure like a black belt in like karate would be like a
Gotcha.
virtuoso.
Okay, so that's the kind of feeling your music gives.
Mhm.
It's like it's kind of like keep pumping. We're pumping. Pump,
Yeah,
pump,
exactly.
pump type of thing. Okay. At Wailing Gita.
That's right.
Okay. And any other message for our viewers and listeners out there?
Mm,
While they're pumping and pumping and
I guess just like do what I do. Keep looking for like new music. It can be from anywhere. Keep digging, search
Original
for
content.
recommendations.
Original
Yeah.
content. Yeah. Yeah. Swim out from the streamline, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be mainstream. It can be indie, it can be world, it can be funk, it can be classical
Yeah,
music.
like Will
It,
Keita is mixing rock and jazz. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Okay. And pumping it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let me get this out. And we'll just get the next person in.
Okay.
Looks like there's a queue. And I have yours and
Yes, it is pretty BA. Are we
Because
not
I
allowed to
choose
cuss on
to
this?
possess.
This is great.
Is your mic on?
I think it is because I can hear it in my head more than usual.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha.
This is wild. It's like a omnidirectional microphone.
Yeah,
Um, so when you were on stage, you were saying this podcast has a certain mission or objective or
yeah, yeah.
ethos. What was that again?
Sure, I can go ahead and read it. So we're streaming from at Preach with Prague, and it is generating collective consciousness that builds spiritual literacy. That's
Okay,
what I said. And collective consciousness is our memories
really cool.
together. Is our memories together, and it could be as memories as being part of this open mic,
Right.
being residents of DMV,
We're all in my like I
some kind
agree.
of
That's cool.
consciousness, yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
like I like to say, or being part of the civilization that gets to witness technology connect the globe.
right.
Because there was other civilizations
We don't even know about.
that found fire, or
Right.
that did that had factories and
Oh, okay.
jobs.
So I mean like
It's our memories
but also
together.
just thinking about like the tree of human society. You know,
Yes.
it's like is it where do you put any kind of line of
Like if
like,
this is like
oh, this is one society, this is another. Like it's all just one human experiment. Like
exactly, and so we
even
are in
before
that
that,
clip. We are
before
in
we were
that
like
clip.
quote unquote humans, like when did we stop
Yeah.
being whatever was before humans, you
Yeah.
know?
So we're like specifically around this
Yeah.
time, and
My voice is so
and
weird.
spiritual literacy is. Well, you want me to turn it down a little bit for you, or you're fine?
Could you?
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
See,
I don't.
how
Yeah,
about now?
that's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
No, it's
must have been
cool.
blasting it for the other two that came through.
Yeah, I don't. I don't. Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah.
This is. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Thanks.
And then like spiritual literacy is sort of just communicating our hope and our ability to understand why am I here? Why did our soul choose
Right.
to live this life?
Yeah.
So I feel like at an open mic, you're among folks who are kind of doing something that there's no particular incentive for, but there's this other incentive that they come and they find themselves in it.
You just got to pour out at some point.
So what are they pouring out? How do they know to
Right.
pour that?
Um.
So that's you, right?
A
That
lot of people are
soul.
like,
Yeah.
you know, coming from source. You know, it's like coming from something outside of me.
And it's like, well, how
But
long?
I
Yeah.
feel like you're given loads of experiences in this world.
Okay.
Like so I'm part of this like church,
Okay.
like very few people. Like it'd be cool if people came
Okay.
to
Say
this
say the
church.
church
It's
name. Yeah.
Divine Science, the Church of Divine Science.
Okay.
It's not Christian Scientists, it's but they do believe in like, you know, pretty much all faiths are the way to get to some
Divine. The
sort of
divine.
enlightenment. They
Yeah.
believe in Buddhism. There's all these beautiful
Yeah.
faiths out there. But it's essentially the same thing, like this kind of spiritual literacy. Like how do we actually connect with the basis of all existence?
Yeah.
That's what spirit is, right? What
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
like sort of not substance, but like what is like the underlying framework
Yeah.
of reality? How do you commune with that? How do you connect with it?
And how
And
do
how do
I
you
like?
not get distracted by what humans tell you is important?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, we're very, very young, if you will, on
Yeah.
like our evolution of consciousness.
Yeah.
And like consciousness being like in a Terrence McKenna kind of way, like the ability of the universe to reflect on itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're really young,
Yeah.
and now with technology, you know, we're looking at like how do we replace ourselves? No, Like,
And it's like, are we? Yeah. Well,
how do
yeah.
we mimic what we are as opposed to continue this evolution? I mean, technology might be part of that,
I think that's where we
but
are. Yeah.
how does spiritual literacy maybe transcend what would be almost binary or like very like even how quantum computers, right,
Yeah.
are still trying to get to,
Human intelligence.
well,
Yeah.
not
Maybe.
even that, just like practical, like they're not even
Practical.
practical good
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like quantum computing still not practical, but
like the brain, the mind, like quantum computing, like
Yeah.
what is that, and like also like how does that then intersect with like what we have known
Yeah.
spirituality? Like
Yeah.
we have quantum computers in our head that don't need to be super cool, but
We're
we're
like finding that
able.
out. We're like discovering that. Like,
Right. We
are
still know
we?
what consciousness is. We don't know what spirituality, like we don't know what spirituality is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and so like literacy is sometimes it's like, can we pigeonhole spirituality into like this one thing? But it's also
But
like,
it's like
can
our
we
best
also,
ability. Our
right?
best ability, our hope to understand why are we here. Yeah.
Well, like, so going back to this like quantum computing thing, it's like, what is the way in which computers sort of work, right? Is like right now it's like binary, it's like ones and zeros, right?
Okay.
But like in quantum computing, from what I understand, it's like the superpositionality of something where it can be yes and no. You know, it's like
Okay.
a what in Japanese they call mu,
Okay. No, I
which
don't know.
sounds like a cow sound,
But it must mean something.
but in
Yeah.
Japanese it's sort of like another way. There's
Okay.
not necessarily this binary, especially like if you have a language that allows you to
Yeah.
think in this way. um there's this third path, this neutral,
Mm-hmm.
that's neither,
Okay.
like our maybe,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
But maybe typically implies one thing or
Yeah.
another in
Yeah.
context. But how do we kind of in this like superpositional time
Okay.
um realize the potential of our minds,
Yeah.
not get like kind of sideswept by what's
No.
flashy and new in technology,
Yeah.
but like how do we connect with one another?
Yeah.
How do we,
Like one thing I
sorry,
promote is
yeah,
add uh, 10 commandments for your mind,
right,
and it's like I
we love 10. Why is that?
well yeah it kind of worked. Yeah, so it was like one
Is
of the
there
first
fingers?
commandments is like you have a
Toes?
mind, you have, and I kind of express it sort of saying that our mind is like a horse,
Okay, yeah, I grew
and
up with horses actually.
right,
I was really
so you
lucky
know what
that
it's
way.
like to create a relationship with the horse, create
Yeah,
nourishment with your horse, and if you were on that horse and you had a relationship, how much further you would go because of that horse.
right.
So if you have a connection with your mind,
It's an
right,
interesting metaphor, in the sense of
and you
like
are nourishing your horse,
natural
and you're
thing.
nourishing, yeah, because you were saying
Yeah,
we get distracted. So what are you feeding your horse? Where are you taking your horse?
right,
If you tell your horse, hey, this is where I want to go, this
right.
is where,
See, that is funny because it's like often humans, right? We feel divorced from nature,
okay,
right? And so like this human horse relationship, right,
yeah,
is like this thing where we have a really tumultuous relationship with horses. Honestly, it's like
yeah,
pretty
you
brutal.
have to
We
like
turned them into
train your
glue.
horse,
Like,
right?
what the hell am I doing with my mind in this metaphor? Like, let alone what actually happened, and like, oh, broke its leg, like doesn't get to experience consciousness, like
No, nobody can
but
be by themselves.
but going back to the metaphor
No,
and
you
not to
have to
mix it with
experience
like
consciousness.
reality, but like how do you nurture this?
What are you nurturing
Yeah.
your thoughts with,
Also,
right?
weirdly enough, you go back a little bit into like the Western philosophy of what the mind is versus like maybe like
Eastern,
even further back. No, I mean even before this like divide between East and West. Like,
yeah,
what is consciousness, and like the whole like, have you ever heard of the stoned ape theory?
no,
I keep referencing Terrence McKenna. Sorry. So he
okay,
kind of coined this idea of like consciousness from our experiences with like psychedelics,
yeah,
which is
okay,
crazy, but like essentially like apes,
yeah,
proto humans, hominoids,
yeah,
hominoids. They did like ingested mushrooms, and that allowed them to have this kind of outside of themselves perspective.
yeah,
Now, going back to your like horse metaphor, like what can we do to like take our minds or whatever to go go further, maybe go further into like like meditate, like going deeper into who we are, and like what is the sort of structure that
yeah.
supports our
The other
self.
metaphor I say is
Oh, okay.
finding our purpose, right? Is is like finding a root on the ground. You can't really tell what that root is meant to do. But when you give it the opportunity to grow, you water it, you trim it out, you maintain it. A little bit of gardening, right? If you've seen how long, you'll watch it blooming and say, okay, that's what. But when you see the
Totally.
fruit initially, you're really unable to tell what it's meant to do. Is it supposed to bear fruits? Is it just one of those other
I see what
dwarf
you're saying.
trees? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny you bring this metaphor up because I have a like nonprofit. We have like a for-profit arm as well, but that does like landscape design services.
Okay.
The nonprofit makes essentially trips to the state nursery for Maryland, where we collect seeds
Mm-hmm.
throughout Maryland and we donate them to the Maryland State Nursery,
Yeah.
and we grow trees together with them.
Yeah. So
So
you
we
kind of
we
know
grow
what it's
native
like
trees. And
giving a
so
root like an opportunity.
yeah, I think of the seed.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and like that there's often this cross pollination, if you will,
Okay.
between our
Okay.
so like let's think of so like a root, right? A root doesn't just sort of it's not the beginning, if you will.
It's like
Like
it's like
doesn't but I understand the metaphor. It's like it is like
you
you
really can't
don't know
tell.
you don't know from a seed often. Like we have like all these different red berries. One could be like a holly, another could be like winterberry. And like if they're divorced from their parents,
Hmm.
you have no idea
Yeah, and you just
what
gotta
that
give
seed's gonna
it the
do. I
opportunity
mean,
to bloom.
it, yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of
And
like
so
giving
you
the
still have to nurture
purpose.
it,
Yeah,
and you have to give it like a
and maintain
medium,
it
like a
and
soil,
trim it. Yeah.
right? Actually, they found out that pruning's not that important because actually there's
You know
species of
more. Yeah,
insects.
yeah,
There's species of insects that do the quote unquote pruning. They
yeah,
actually they need
yeah.
the dead branches that are still attached to the tree. It's so weird, but it's like wow, we're like devoid, like we're like so focused on order while there are um
Natural disorder, spontaneous,
not even that. There's
spontaneous.
like people that rely, like there's species that rely
Yeah.
on what we would look at as chaos. And so it's like often like how do we also get outside of this human centric framework where it's like we
Yeah.
know what we want in our space, you
So,
know?
Tone, we've been speaking about computing
We
and we've been speaking
were.
about gardening. But I love how you are dressed up here. And you did you come here and at this open mic and sing, or did you come in?
Yes, I did. And I feel like I've already overstayed my welcome.
No, it's
I was
okay.
trying to be Nikola Tesla, who would probably be rolling in his grave, not only for me like looking like them, but you know what's happening with like strip mining and Cybertrucks cutting people's fingers off.
Oh,
There's
okay.
all that crazy stuff
Wait,
happening
what
right now.
did you do here tonight at the open mic?
Oh, I played a song. I've been writing.
So you're an artist as well.
Yes,
In addition to having your mind,
so
your horse,
funny.
think about supercomputing and think about pruning and
I made
gardening.
art earlier. Well, actually, I
Yes,
had to
and that's
take it
why you're
away
here.
from a space.
What do you mean?
I make installation art. So I make installation art also out of like trash.
Okay.
So one of the pieces I made had to be taken away because of a cease and desist order. But they're moving locations. It's called Float. It's a cool little
You
spot.
are so funny. Okay.
And
But tell me
they
about what you performed a song tonight, or did you just play an
yeah,
instrument?
I know. I feel ADD right now,
No, no,
even
you're
more
fine,
so
bro.
than
That's why I'm
normal.
here. So I didn't get to
So
hear, right?
it's called Gold Tiger.
Yeah, and you have music on the internet.
I was hoping that I would use the recording from this to actually post that. It went well.
Okay, and you know
So
what? We'll
it'll be
go
Audio
ahead and say your
Forests on
handler.
Instagram.
Okay, are you on Instagram? Go ahead and say your
Y-
handler so
Yeah,
the
yeah, that
people
was
know.
it. Audio Forests, like
Audio
plural,
forest.
plural. Yeah,
Like
it's
we're in the
plural.
woods, but like
It's
forest.
multiple forests.
I
Like
love.
there's like one forest really, but
Yeah,
like because they're fragmented
yeah,
by society,
yeah.
there's many
So it's like
forests.
audio forest, one word.
Audio forest, one word, but it's like again many forests
The
because
S is silent. Like we're almost going French here. Forest.
AudioForestS.
Yeah, there's multiple forests. You
Yeah.
are. You have that art in you, and then you have the gardener, the farmer in you. I love that. The
Thanks.
audio forest, and it's
Thanks, Brock.
sure, but that's what because I didn't talk about your music first, right? Even though that's how we met here. We
Yeah.
talked about supercomputing. We talked about gardening, where I was saying, our purpose is like a root, and then you tell me that your handler is at audio tech world forest.
Yeah.
So
It's funny.
do you as an individual try to get out there with nature or find yourself tapping into nature besides going to the nursery? Well, you're part of this nonprofit,
Yeah, so
so it
we
must be
like
pretty
collect
big.
seeds from like state forests, people's yards,
Yeah.
like always like trying to find what's left and
What kind of
trying to figure
music
out how to grow it.
does audio forest? What kind of music is
I
that?
have an acoustic guitar and that gets me pretty far.
Yeah.
But we're trying to go folk, psychedelic kind of
Yeah. I'm thinking
psychedelic
bluegrass
folk.
for some reason, but no.
I've had some fun.
For some
But
reason, I'm thinking
I
because
think they're
I'm
just
feeling a
better
little bit out there.
musicians than me. A lot of people like my
Hey, the
voice.
gentleman, two gentlemen ahead of you was saying, we really need to stop comparing ourselves to others.
Right.
Dude,
But
tone.
like bluegrass, funny. Uh,
Well, that's the feeling I got because
they're
you were
just
out there.
so
You took me
they're
out there to
so
the forest,
cool.
to the garden.
Yeah. I used to go to Watermelon Festival. I don't even know what times, but
Yeah,
that was a fun bluegrass festival,
yeah,
and they knew how to get down.
yeah. I
Um,
think live music in itself, you know, when they break it down, it's really just, it's so much more different than hearing it.
totally.
Any, for me, any genre when it's live and they're bringing it,
Well, like, do you believe in auras?
auras. Is that like it's like an ambiance or a feeling, or like
It's
the
sort of
presence, like
it's
the
like
presence.
chakras. Do you believe in
Okay, go
chakras?
ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I know of chakras. I know. Go ahead and elaborate
So
for me.
sort of like it's an energetic field around the self, and it's sort of an energetic presence. They like Kundalini yoga, right? Believes that like the spine is sort of this like sort of way in which everything's connected through that, right?
Yeah,
We can't argue with that. But then like in your body, and then that energy, like the consciousness that's flowing through it,
yeah.
is exuding an energetic field, almost like the way a tree supposedly grows
Okay, okay.
and like has its own sort of aligned poles.
Yeah.
we have we have a symmetry and a pole,
Okay.
our mind being kind of this antenna, if you will.
Okay.
And so the aura sort of emanating from like the third eye, the crown, the
Okay.
like, and then the root chakra, like kind of everything kind of being anchored through that,
Got it. And this
going
is
to
like
your
what?
root metaphor. And so the root chakra, right? So again, those align, and then there's a certain energy that comes from presence. And scientists have actually been able to study this. One of the most powerful quote unquote emotions is authenticity. So when you're actually present with somebody,
Yeah.
the
You're genuine.
authenticity, the emotion that we don't normally consider one, but it's the most uh
Also, it's saying
quote unquote
authenticity
powerful.
is an emotion.
Right. Yeah,
Wow, I
yeah.
love it.
I forget what study did this, but it being a study, it's replicable, and hopefully you're experiencing that.
So,
Like
do you experience? Have you experienced that where,
when
what,
people bring their authentic self, always.
and like being present? Because I think you started off that when
It's
I said like the
funny.
music, right? When I said live music in itself is
Right.
so different. I think
Right.
that's where you started going off of.
So it's funny. This kind of brings up the conversation around like, okay, authenticity unfortunately doesn't survive in capitalist societies because of this weird, people want replicable results. And authenticity is like, I've had a shit morning. I'm not going to show up in the same way, but I'm on tour every day. And so,
That's like one of
there's
the
this
formulas. I see
disconnect
what you mean.
between,
Yeah. Well, we were just talking to somebody, and he was saying how the first album is always, is always out there, and the second album, and his example was Queen, and I was thinking
right.
maybe because by the time they get to the second and third, they're on like a contract.
They're polished. Yeah.
They're
No.
on a contract. You know what I mean? And
Right.
the tours and people are gonna show up. and they're on a contract. But the first one is like
It-
the first one's their hearts out there.
right. I mean, so there's also just like the way that you probably relate more with the starving artist than you would with the one that's making millions of dollars off that first album.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's
So
like
like
artists out
it's probably
there who
that
can
too.
make millions and still give us really good
Authenticity.
stuff. Yeah, but there's
Yeah,
always
that's fair.
they're always on the spectrum. But the ones in the middle, the
Right.
ones they're usually on a contract, and it's like
Right. And
yeah,
again, that's what I'm saying is like it's just like how relatable does someone stay, I guess, if they have monetized
yeah. Or like maybe it's
the
like the life
music.
experience, that they get.
That's what I
When they
mean.
go on
Yeah,
a break,
exactly. Like
they become a mom or
v-
something like that, and then they
there's
come
all that
back, and then they're
too.
about to.
But like
They're still making millions, but they're knocking it out the park. You know what I mean? Because they just became a mom, or they just had a tragic life experience.
right.
Like Blink 182, Travis,
Yeah, I haven't followed them though.
but he got into this terrible ac-
Accident? Oh
accident,
wow.
and I want to say
Sucks.
everybody died, but he survived it alone.
God, that's
But
awful.
then when he came back, it was like this other side of his drummer, or in addition to being a drummer, he was this other person. Yeah. So that happens, and he's still making millions, but his music, his ability to drum again is
Yeah, I mean,
different.
I think we were talking earlier, like at the very beginning, like what's that sort of not connection to source, but like what's that sort of spark or like
Our
the
ability to
intention,
connect,
the intention
yeah,
it
the
may be.
ability, yeah. Because if you make millions, right? If you make millions, you can still
Connect.
channel
Yeah, I'm
in
not
some,
gonna doubt the rich man just because he's got.
but usually,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's not. It's not just that. It's like again, it's like yeah, like you're saying, the experiences that they have, and often I feel like when people have to quote unquote make it, just how
it's a
far they'll
different,
go.
yeah. Even like
But
UFC
once they've
fighters,
made it,
yeah.
there's sort of this
That
comfort.
laziness. I was thinking
Maybe,
laziness. They
yeah,
they have to fight that now.
but
They have to fight laziness and comfort.
also sort of what their money allows them to purchase. They allow like best engineers,
But if
best
they're
vocal,
missing,
like
but if they're
best
missing that,
backing vocalist, or like best trombonist
but
for
if
that
they're
one,
missing that
flair or whatever.
flavor,
Yeah,
that presence, right? That
right,
features, that authenticity.
right.
Yeah, I mean they can
Like,
produce something, but it won't be. I'm sure there's artists out there who keep looking for it.
and I mean, who are we to even judge?
No,
Like,
but that's
we
what
don't
they're
have it. We
doing.
don't have it out there yet. But like, yeah,
But
no, I feel that.
that's what they're doing. Some of them show us
It's.
that they keep channeling. Like I think of Nora Jones, Jack
I see that.
Johnson.
I see that. Yeah, they're. I love them. I actually tore into this. Probably shouldn't say that. I didn't do that.
You did what?
No,
Like
nothing.
I was thinking of Nora Jones. I think of Jack Johnson. Like he's making this type of music, and it's okay if it's not pop, whatever. He's just gonna keep rocking it, and you listen to it, and you're like, dude, I feel
Honestly,
good.
I like when they shy away. I felt like a lot of artists that I really like, they like went and they got close and they were like, never mind. This
Because
is
they
actually
wanna
losing
they don't wanna
my.
channel much. They don't wanna
Yeah,
channel it. Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, Tone, do you have any? Did I say that right? Right? Just
Yeah, it's
Tone.
perfect.
Yeah. Do you have any messages? I just want to
You're
because I'm
funny, bro.
thinking Tone.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
thinking like a
yeah.
tone, and I
Yeah.
said Tony. It's Tone, one syllable. Do you have any message for our viewers, for our, for now, and the ones watching right now, and even for later, as to what at Audio Forest, what Audio Forest is bringing to our collective consciousness? I can obviously see you want to bring back nature,
Yeah,
but
hug a
like,
tree. There we
but like
go.
you also have
No.
a tech version of it. I love that. Yeah, you still have like
Right.
the 21st century theme going on,
Yeah.
but you're like, dude, we gotta remember our greenery. I kind of That's the feel I'm getting. Is that how?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to use like this thing like technology to actually be an advocate for nature. It's like how do we kind of promote the rewilding with technology? So that's the whole thing. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and what was the song you just performed?
Gold Tiger. It's a song sort of about this art we found in New York when we went to record there.
Okay.
Of
You say we,
my band, Different Answers.
okay, but today it was only you.
It was just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like an individual artist, and you're also with
I
the
play
band.
bass in their band,
Okay.
our band, and don't get to sing too much, but this is like my solo track, and we're gonna try to figure out how everybody else plays in it. And so that song's again about like this photograph we found of a like young guy in same place sort of where my friend probably is from,
Okay.
but he's like a Sikh. He's kind of like a turban,
Mhm.
and he shot a Bengal tiger. So it's called Gold Tiger because they like painted this like black and white photograph like with this like really crazy orange for the tiger.
Uh,
And it's like about how we try to conquer nature, and in doing so um, lose it. So
we try to like
we by
conquer the
con
majestic nature because the
but by
Bengal tiger.
conquering it, right,
Yeah.
we lose the essence of it, right? We lose it entirely. So like what you grasp at is like in
Yeah.
essence smoke. Like you can't control and contain, like have it.
It's
It's
supposed to
gone.
be majestic
By
for
doing
us.
that, it's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. Let's keep it majestic. Let's
Yeah.
let's keep nature majestic
Yeah.
to
Authentic.
authentic,
Which is such a
majestic.
cringe word at the end of
No,
it.
no, but I like it. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think nature has so many majestic themes going on, and you're saying let's keep it that way. Otherwise, if we
Right.
try to tame it, then come
Right.
on,
So
what
like
else are we gonna do?
similarly, like how do we like do it? Like our like rewilding without making it like some human invention. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can be.
It's weird, right?
No,
But
no, I like it. Yeah.
I remember going into a mall, and I'll probably end on this, but like I went in there and there's like this like well certification, and it was like how much plant life can you sort of cram into a certain area, and it was like just like a whole army of snake plants, which are these like
Mm.
plants that just go straight up, and it was just like so unsettling. It was like this isn't natural at all. This is
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the bending of nature to fit some sort of like architectural requirement, which was just like, where am
You didn't like
I?
that at all. You
No,
want to
I don't think
appreciate
anybody wanted.
nature's majestic.
Again,
No,
it's
well,
like
some people are indifferent, but I like how you are kind of bringing that awareness, saying, guys, nature's out there. It's supposed to be majestic. Let's keep rocking it, right? Let's keep
yeah,
rocking it. We're at 21st century. We have
yeah,
all this fabulous
rocking it.
technology, but
Yeah,
let's keep appreciating the authenticity and the majestic nature of nature.
yeah.
Right? Tone has this very, I love it. This nature side that you
Thanks,
care about.
thanks.
Go
You
pruning,
keep
go
rocking it.
and preach with proud. So yeah, yeah, people say yeah, yeah. That's the Amber. Yeah, that's the movement. But
Nice,
yeah, I do a lot of things outside. I think I like being outside
cool.
as well. Yeah, but I don't know as much as you do about pruning and this and that.
Happy to say
Yeah,
stuff.
and maybe listen to an
Take it or
audio
leave
before
it.
us. Sure thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
See ya.
Thank you so much.
This was so cool. Thank you.
Of course.